From LALATE News headquarters in Santa Monica, this is the Midday Report on LALATE.
It's a big noontime here on LALATE at Monday at noontime with exciting details about your fourth stimulus check update of 2021. In this recording, we'll be going over that monthly stimulus check and why it may actually give you more months of the check than initially thought. Then we cut to the fourth stimulus recon, where your check is in there and could actually give you a lot more other monies across the board. And then we turn to the voting process and why doing it right, not doing it wrong, is a key issue for the Democrats going forward and what they're doing today as well. Then we turn to fifth stimulus, which heats up this fall with another stimulus check and raise your benefits up lifetime. And then we go over the tens of thousands of dollars that viewers continue to get. One viewer getting $22,000. It's your day to get this big money, and it's a big day across the board. It's Money Monday as we get into this noontime broadcast, starting right here, right now on LALATE. Hey, good noontime, everybody. How are you? It's a Monday here live in Santa Monica, and hope the weather is great where you are. It's been perfect weather here in Santa Monica, California today. It started very dark and cold, and now it's just breezy and pleasant and wonderful, wonderful weather for today. Hope the weather is good where you are. Jump in the live chat and tell me where you're tuning in from, and how's the weather at noontime here on LA. Boy, exciting details about that fourth stimulus check. In the first part of this video, we'll go over the monthly check and why those Democrats may actually be giving you more months. Then in the second part of this video, we'll be going over the fourth stimulus recon, where your checks are located and what they're doing that may actually give you other monies as well. And then the third part of this video, we'll be going over the vote and what you need to know about the voting process. Then we cut to fifth stimulus with another stimulus check for next year and the raising up of your benefits lifetime. And then we go to the big money the viewers continue to get, with one viewer getting $22,000. It's your day to get it as well. And this is LALATE, America's only 24-hour-a-day, 7 days a week financial news channel in America. Live in the morning, like right now, direct from Santa Monica, and then taped in the afternoons. Next up is Afternoons LALATE at 3 o'clock, followed by Evenings LALATE at 5. Overnights crypto at 5:30, evenings crypto at 7, and Sirloin at 8 o'clock, and then our overnight shows. Subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. I want you part of this family. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like this video. Every like helps. It also delivers you some yogurt. Consider becoming a member. Let's get into that monthly stimulus check starting right now from the Democrats, House, and Senate. Let's compare and contrast and see the breaking news that impacts this starting right now. Slight differences across the board. Pandemic plus 1 year, says the House bill. Stimulus check, pandemic plus 1 year. Senate proposal, July to December. Let's go over the payouts. House, $1,000 after the first month, $2,000. Senators, unknown monthly, but word on the street is it's this. Oh my goodness, that's deliciousness right there. $2,000 over 6 months, $12,000 a person. Or $1,400 over 6 months, $8,400 a person. The breaking news at noontime is that this number may get modified. Why? Pandemic plus 1 year. It was a week ago today that we thought the pandemic may be over for legislative purposes. No way, apparently, says LA County. Pandemic ain't over. Warren Buffett says the pandemic's not over. Airline says the pandemic is not over. If that's the case, then the House bill would pay more than 12 months of checks. It would pay pandemic plus 1 year. And that would be more than $13,000. Compare that to this over 6 months. I think you have an opinion. Jump in the live chat right now and vote House or Senate. House or Senate. Tell me where you're tuning in from. And how's the weather? Wow, things just changed quickly on this channel. It's amazing. A lot of opinions change. I have a system of opinion. Jump in the live chat. I want to see what you're voting for right now. Who gets this fourth stimulus check? Democrats represent that they would give a fourth stimulus check to single individuals, $75,000 or less. They represent that they would give a fourth stimulus check to a married couple, $150,000 or less, double it. Democrats represent they would give a fourth stimulus check to a married couple, to a family of 4, quadruple it. And if you're on benefits, the Democrats represent they would give you a fourth stimulus check, SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, and veterans benefits. The fourth stimulus check is not income. It's not taxable. The fourth stimulus check would come to everyone at the same amount. That's great news. And the fourth stimulus check is monthly. It is not a waivable check. So if you see this check at the tennis shoe store today, trying on some new tennis shoes, and it's sort of waving all over the place, don't wave at the check. It may make it dizzy. Hey, check, how are ya? You buying those sneakers? They're awful. Tasteless check you are. It's not a rude check. It just has no taste. It doesn't, it's spending the check on the shoes before it even has the check. So there you go. The fourth stimulus check would cover the month of July. It would walk on in with better shoes in the month of July. The Democrats represent for the month of July. And in the month of August, for the month of August. Those Democrats represent that they're going to get you a check in the month of August, in the month of July. Let's go over all the details. That's coming up later in this video. As we cut to the two-path process, how they're getting this done, and why they may be giving you additional monies. In fact, they are. Wow, that's coming up later. Then we go over the voting process. You need to tune in for that part of the video. It's very important. You need to know how things are voted upon and how they do it right, not wrong. Because you can call vote immediately, too early, and do it wrong, and that's it. You got nothing. You have to do it right the first time, and I'm going to show you how to do it right. And first, here's a preview of the second half of this video. It's fifth stimulus, and it heats up this fall with another stimulus check. Those Democrats represent they're going to give you a fifth stimulus check and raise your benefits up. Wow, it's just getting delicious. But let's get some money. Let's get some money. Get that pen and paper out and get ready, because this is what this channel does. It's Money Monday. This is what this channel has done since day one. It's what it's going to do every single day. Get people money. And I got to congratulate you. The viewers of this channel have gotten fortunes. If you're on the live chat right now, post right now. The rent, the utilities, the SNAP that you got. The numbers are absolutely astronomical. Viewers like Nisi got $22,000 from this channel for rent, utilities, SNAP. Art got money for rent, utilities, and SNAP. John, this last week, got $12,000 for SNAP. Viewers are getting $10,000 to $12,000 from me for rent and for $3,000 for utilities. They're getting $5,000 to $7,000 for SNAP. How are they doing it? Get that pen and paper ready. When third stimulus passed, there was a lot of money in third stimulus. And I said, yeah, other people may only be talking about the $14 stimulus check, but I'm going to be talking about how to get you $14,000. That's what this channel does. And now, as we sit here in July, we sort of feel like second stimulus in December. We were waiting for second stimulus to pass, and people needed money. Well, I stepped forward and got people $250,000. So it's now your turn to get that money from me as well. In December last year, I got viewers like Tyrone, $15,000 for his family of four in Boston. And I got viewers $25 million of EIDL loans in March and last year to save their businesses, their homes, and their employees' homes. Let's do it right now. We're going to get that rent. We're going to get some utilities. We're going to get some mortgage and also homeowners utilities starting right now. Get that pen and paper ready. And if it must be a Crayola crown, remember, this is purple. It's not muddled anything. You ready? Here we go. You're going to reach out to different places. Each has different eligibility. If one says no, reach out to the next until you get the yes. You're going to reach out to your city hall, your city housing authority, your county hall, your county housing authority, your state hall, your state housing authority. The keywords you're going to say are rent assistance because of COVID, or mortgage assistance because of COVID, utility assistance because of COVID. You don't say words they don't know. You don't say words they don't know, like stimulus. They don't know that word. And they also don't know other words like Mitch's wonderful operatic voice. They don't know that word. They don't want to know that word. I don't want to know those. Ow, my ear just hurts thinking about that. So they don't want to know that. And congratulations to Tim and Linda who got this wonderful money. And viewers are just, I say it's about $5,000 for rent. I'm wrong, because viewers are getting $9,000, $10,000, $11,000, $12,000 for rent daily, $3,000 for utilities. Let's get to that next pot of money. And it's SNAP. John got $12,000 for SNAP last week. Lynn Glenn got it for herself, her son, and her mom. Gail got it. And what is it? It's money for food. The average viewer of this channel gets about $5,000 to $6,000 for it. How do you get it? Department of Agriculture. Contact them to get the money. The eligibility is about the same as a stimulus check. How much does it pay? Well, Family 4 in Hawaii gets upwards of $16,000 a year. Why so much money? Because of two executive orders, one from Biden, one from Trump, that raise everyone's SNAP benefits up between now and December. So go get it. You're killing it. $16,000 for SNAP in Hawaii, $5,000 for rent, and we are only 9 minutes of this video. You're killing it. I'm killing it. The check, you're just, You're just not killing it with that look. That you gotta change those shoes, check. Take the check and just cash it out. Get some other shoes, please. And let's get to the next pot of money. It's coming back from your states. The states have been ordered to return money back to you from the federal government. How much? One viewer got $5,000 for this. Where? Direct deposit to the account you have on file. What's at issue here? States had overpaid you due to computer error. And the federal government said, no, that was the citizen's money to keep. It's your computer to darn go fix. So can you track it? Yeah, call up your state and say, hey, state, where's that check due to your computer error? And can you track it this time with a computer that actually works? And finally, the last pile of the money is the refund check back from IRS. If you got to this as well, jump in the live chat and tell viewers that you got it because it inspires us all. Also, keep on posting the rent utilities you got as well. Inspires all of us and updates me about the numbers. First, let's go over how much. Let's say you had $9,000 of unemployment benefits. You pay $5,000 of taxes, of which $4,000 was your taxes on unemployment benefits. Congratulations. You're getting back $4,000. Where? Direct deposit, otherwise in the mail. Can you track it? Yeah. About 50%, about 70% of the time, you can track it. Go to irs.gov, set up a username and password. Go in there and do a transcript search. 70% of the time it works. It'll reveal stuff that you never knew. It'll reveal some stuff that you don't want to really know. It'll reveal the tax return you filed, the taxes you paid. It'll reveal really who will be singing backup for Mitch. It'll reveal, did Mitch choreograph all the dance moves in that music video of his? And finally, it'll reveal the tax return refund check you're getting back from IRS and the date. Wow. Can we top that? We can. As we go into the second and major part of your fourth stimulus check updated 2021, starting right now. Here's what you need to know is that everything is in a much better position it is today than it was a week ago. And in fact, it's a lot better than it was 2 weeks ago. 3.5 weeks ago, now actually almost 4.5 weeks ago, Nancy Pelosi, Leader Schumer, President, and Jalapal all identified a problem with the recon. Your money is in something called recon or reconciliation or fourth recon. Your money is in the recon, and they identified a problem. The problem was the recon was too big. And the reason why it was too big is it had roads and bridges and bridges and roads in there. So finally, they decided, get the roads and bridges out. Everyone had decided upon it, but they kept it quiet and didn't tell you, didn't tell me, didn't tell anyone. That's going to be a common theme you're going to see through this video. They're doing things very secretively. So they understood this was an issue. And so what happened? Number one, two Wednesdays ago, Schumer, Pelosi, and the president met and said, let's take the roads and bridges out of the recon and spin it off and put it into something called the bipartisan. Let's spin it out and take it out of the recon, roads and bridges. And that became the spin-off series called Roads and Bridges, otherwise known as Nash Bridges with Don Johnson. Beautiful car. If you have one, just DM me, the Barracuda. No, it was called Bipartisan, Roads and Bridges. And all your stuff stayed where it was, in the recon. That's the fourth stimulus, your checks, climate, CARES economy, money for children, money for seniors, everything else. But everything else remained in the recon. Roads and bridges, however, were spun off and put into the bipartisan. And that gave us a two-path process, recon and bipartisan. Now, I want to give you a sort of preview of later in this video. I want to give you a preview of it right now. Jalapal actually has a quote in which she slips up and she reveals to us that before the date of that split for the recon and the bipartisan, which was 2 Wednesdays ago, she actually polled her entire Democratic caucus about how to vote on it, even before it was split. And she's made a mistake in revealing that because she didn't. You can tell by the quote she didn't intend to reveal it by giving us a date. We're like, wait a second, it wasn't split by then. Oh, you were planning this out beforehand. So that's coming up later. I want you to remember these dates. So why was the split so important for you? It did 4 wonderful things. Number one, before recon was split from roads and bridges, before recon was split from bipartisan, recon just by itself before 2 Wednesdays ago would not have passed. It was too big. Democrats agreed. GOP actually agreed. It was too big. That is why Pelosi, the president, and Schumer took roads and bridges out of it to make it passable. They shrunk the recon. It was too big before. And hence became the famous movie, Honey, I Shrunk the Recon, starring Rick Moranis. Beautiful movie. Get on DVD. The GOP actually admits that by taking the roads and bridges out of the recon, it made it now passable. It was not passable before 2 Wednesdays ago. So this is an op-ed from a very well-established conservative political publication. The higher the price tag was on the recon, the harder it was to pass. By allowing the Democrats to take out some of the recon items, roads and bridges, and put in the bipartisan, the overall price tag of the recon got smaller. Well, that's obvious. In other words, the bipartisan deal made the recon now passable. Yeah, sorry, I missed you were set up. That's no other way to say it. I mean, he was. There was nothing there was nothing gained by the GOP blessing the bipartisan, because by creating the bipartisan, the recon now became passable. Remember, GOP doesn't want you to have a recon. GOP doesn't write the recon. GOP doesn't want the recon. GOP wants nothing to do with the recon. And what did they do? They made the recon passable by agreeing to the bipartisan. Oh, yeah, that sings. Ouch. You were really badly set up. Sorry. That was number one. Number two, by spinning the roads and bridges out of the recon, it shrunk the recon. Now, here's something I make clear on Mornings LA, but I want to make it clear again, because it's a great question someone asked me overnight. You're saying that the recon was too big before? Yeah. And then they shrunk it by taking roads and bridges out? Yeah. So why are progressives putting more stuff back in? Understand, by taking roads and bridges out, that's a big ticket item. It's enormous. It's a lot of money. Taking roads and bridges out of the recon, it shrunk the recon. But by progressives putting some stuff back in, it's just moderate. It's just slightly getting bigger. It's just not much difference, because the roads and bridges are a fortune. Nothing the progressives could add in would ever look like the roads and bridges. That's a great question. So what brings us to the second great thing of this is that now the Democrats and the progressives are giving you other things in the recon. Now, here's something you need to know is that subcommittees don't tell you what they're doing. People think that there's a lot of transparency in Congress. There is not. So they don't tell you everything that's going on in the recon. They don't tell you everything that's going into the recon, the deal provisions and all the items. And every time you hear some surprise, you're like, I'm surprised. I'm like, what? I never heard that item. Did we hear about housing before? I never heard about housing in the recon. It's in the recon. What? How does the housing work? I don't know. Viewers are jumping in the live channel Mornings LA say, how's the housing work? I don't know. We're just hearing about these things. These are things that they're now piling back in because they have excess space because roads and bridges are out. And they admit they're doing it. Here we go. Representative Ilhan Omar admits they're doing it. We have a commitment that regardless of what happens with the bipartisan, the Congress will give us a recon that goes as far as we want it to. Oh, just pile in all that progressive policies in there as much as you want. And then Representative Richie Torres, Democrat of New York, said that I refuse to vote for the bipartisan unless the recon goes as big as I want it to go. And he wants his housing in there. What housing? How does this work? Really, it's just wonderful. It's just checks and checks and checks and more checks for you of all different natures. And the Progressive Caucus is being with the White House daily to make sure that the recon goes big enough. So this brings us to the third benefit of this. By taking roads and bridges out of the recon and throwing them down the river, over the bridge, down the river, down the road and over the bridge, what happened? The recon became like a fort, very well protected. And we had heard they were doing this before the split. Yeah, I can refer to the split as when the recon was split from bipartisan. Jalapal had said, the president said, keep on doing your protection of the recon. Now we know what they were protecting. And Representative Brian Schott said, the president says that the progressive policies, progressive priorities in the recon are the White House's priorities. Wow. So remember, the recon is written by Democrats for Democrats to be passed by Democrats. GOP doesn't even want to open a pen, open up a pen to touch the recon. They don't want to have anything to do with the recon. They don't want to write it. They don't want to touch it. They don't want to see it. They want it never to happen. So then the final thing that got out of this recon that's wonderful is messaging. Before, when roads and bridges was in the recon, it overwhelmed the message. So we always thought that recon was just roads and bridges. Nope, it wasn't. Now that roads and bridges are out, you can actually tell that the recon is just checks. It's just checks for Americans, checks of all different types. And Mitch McConnell's made it very clear by trash talking, by saying it's just progressive policies and a progressive wish list and lots of checks for socialism and that type of stuff. And so it's made it very clear for us how big and bold it is. So there you go. Which brings us now to how do we get there? We got here from Jalapa. When Jalapa had written a letter to President to Schumer saying call the vote, that letter was signed by 12 House Democrats among the 100-plus House Democrats who had said, we're going to put monthly stimulus checks in the forced stimulus recon. Wow, can we top that? We can. As 7 House members of that House Ways and Means Committee, which is solely exclusively responsible for writing recons and writing your stimulus check recons, said that they're going to be writing monthly stimulus checks in the forced stimulus recon. Wow. Now, they wrote the third stimulus recon and the third stimulus check recon for the recon. They say that they are writing the fourth stimulus recon right now, and they say they're writing the fourth stimulus checks monthly in the fourth stimulus recon, and they represent that they're doing a fifth stimulus check recon for next year. I'll explain that later in this video. They also wrote your first and second stimulus check. Wow. Can we get better than that? We can. As the President of the United States anchored this to the edge of the finish line by going overseas about 3 weeks ago to get an international agreement about corporate taxes, which anchors forced stimulus recon to the edge of the finish line. Let's go over what's happening. Here's where you have to sort of smirk and laugh, because the president originally pitched the American people on raising corporate taxes to pay for roads and bridges. But now that roads and bridges are not in the recon, how is he paying for a recon? The same way. Yeah. So he wants to help you. He wants to pay for someone else's medicine by raising your corporate taxes. Yeah, it's sort of a different message now, but he's not changing it. It just was a plan in that way. You decide. So remember, the recon is paid by raising corporate taxes. The bipartisan is not. And what did he do? Well, he had, in paying for recon by raising corporate taxes, he said, I'm worried that business may move overseas where taxes are lower. So he reached out to those other countries overseas, said, hey, can we get the minimum rate up? And the country said, yeah, we can do that. So he reached out to his staff. He said, staff, hey, can we bring Dr. Jill's potpourri to these countries in December and have them sign on the dotted line? We can do that now, Mr. President. It's June. They like potpourri in June. And, it's Europe. Everything's different. They drive on the other side of the road. Oh, okay. So 3 weeks ago, he went overseas and got those countries to sign on the dotted line now before forced stimulus recon, which anchors forced stimulus recon to the edge of the finish line. Because now it makes it easier to pass forced stimulus recon, easier to write forced stimulus recon, because international taxes are no longer a provision you need in forced stimulus recon. It's covered in the international agreement. Wow. Now that's smart planning. Can we top that? We can. As we go into the third and major part of this forced stimulus check update, where we go over the voting process, it's very, very, very critical you understand that we are not tracking checks here. We are not date chasing here, and we're not calendar catching here either. If you had called the forced stimulus for a vote in May, it would have died. If you had called for a vote 3 weeks ago, before forced stimulus was split from the bipartisan, it would have died. You have one opportunity, and you don't want to use up your recon by calling the vote the wrong way because you want to just rush it. And if you call it the wrong way, it dies. In the third part of this video, we'll be going over how to call it the right way, how they've been planning to call it the right way, and how they can still get you a stimulus check in the month of July. That's coming up later in this video, plus fifth stimulus. But first, something more wonderful, the volunteers. If you need help with rent, utilities, or internet, or SNAP, then reach out to the volunteers. They truly embody the Purple Power spirit. How do you find them? Open the description of this video. Go down the description. You'll find an emoji of a house. Next to that emoji of a house is a link to the community page, news.lalate.com/community. They can help you get that rent, utilities, internet, SNAP. I want you to get that big money. If you're watching the viewers in this channel who are getting that big sum of monies and you've tried and you can't get it, don't worry. The volunteers will help you get it. And I'll be back in 60 seconds with you with exciting details about your fourth and fifth stimulus still happening today. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.lalate.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well.
Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE.
And the excitement continues on Noontime LA, direct from Santa Monica, with big exciting details still about your fourth stimulus and fifth stimulus as we go over the voting process. How are you on this big noontime of Monday? Hope you're having a beautiful day. If you need help with rent, utilities, or SNAP, I think one person in the live chat during the commercial break, I missed the name, it was out of Maryland. She was having problems. Reach out to the volunteers, they'll help you. This is LA. Subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record in 1 year. Next stop, 1 million. Hit that subscribe button. Like the video. Every like helps in the algorithm rankings. It also delivers some you'll play. And consider becoming a member. I'm next back with you with Afternoons LA at 3 p.m., Evenings LA at 5 p.m., Overnight's Crypto at 5:30, Evenings Crypto at 7 o'clock, and then Sirloin in his new time slot at 8 o'clock with Jovina Lay. Let's get right into fifth stimulus starting right now. The fifth stimulus starts this fall with another stimulus check. One of the things I want to make clear, because I saw this question a few times yesterday, is the fifth stimulus check just for certain people? No. Fifth stimulus check is for everyone. It happens to be discussed in the context of SSI reform, but it's for everyone, the fifth stimulus check. I also got the question of, will the fifth stimulus check overlap with the fourth? No. The people who are writing the fourth stimulus recon and represent they're doing a fourth stimulus check recon are writing the fifth stimulus check recon as well. Their intention is to get that language written in the fall and get it to a vote by October, November, that check for next year, but it will not overlap. Next, the president has dedicated $1 billion to Social Security Administration to ensure you get your benefits on time going forward. This is fourth stimulus, fifth stimulus, and your monthly benefits checks. Meantime, if you've not gotten your first or second or third stimulus check, you have to do two things. One, file a tax return. And second, request the refund on the tax return. There's a specific line on the tax return. If you haven't done that, go to a tax preparer. All right, let's go to the big item of this stimulus as we start this afternoon of noontime on Monday. As you know, the markets are closed, so there's no new economic data today. But we've certainly had a lot of economic data late last week. That economic data involved the following. Friday, new jobs number came out, big, hot, signaling inflation. Wednesday, lumber crashing, down 40%, biggest crash in 1 month because housing starts up. Big inflation number there as well. Consumer price index, producer price index, big numbers. So suddenly we see a lot of inflation numbers. And of course, Jay Powell, head of the Federal Reserve, said that inflation is going to keep on going up, and it's going to hit that high spot in December when they apply your benchmark. Wow, let's go over the analysis of this. This is the SSI and SSDI reform under fifth stimulus. First, they'll raise your benefits up. Then they'll remove the asset limit, add the inflationary benchmark, remove the marriage penalty, remove the income exclusion, and let's go over the calculation. So number one, they'll raise your benefits up. Who's you? You, if you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, veterans benefits, survivor benefits, or multiple benefits, or casino benefits. They'll apply a new benchmark. You've learned so well from this channel. You're just doing a great job how this benchmark works. First, you understand it's done in December. Next, you understand it applies for the coming year's benefits. Third, you understand the new benchmark will be inflation. 4, you understand inflation is going up. And 5, you understand that Jay Powell says it's going to hit the highest inflation mark in December. Wow, that's great news. That's right when they apply your benchmark. So the only thing that's left is how much is the inflation? We won't know till we get closer to that month. But Wall Street's looking at about potentially 10%. So if inflation's going up now, going up 4%, and then hits that like 10% in December, wow, your benefits will step up 10%. Not just next year, a lifetime. Because once your benefits step up, they never step down. So if next year the benchmark is the inflation rate is 2%, then your benefits will go up plus 10%. Wow. Now that's wonderful news. Next, they're going to remove the asset cap dating back to a 1960s law that says you can't stay on benefits and also have more than $3,000 in hand. It's going to go away. Time to get some stimulus checks and tacos in the hand. They're going to remove the income cap dating back to a 1960s law that says you can't work and stay on benefits. And finally, the marriage penalty is going to go away. One viewer asked me, would this be retroactive? Nothing is retroactive in this. So this would mean if you have lost benefits, the benefits will be restored. You would no longer fear a loss of benefits. And viewers like Rob and Sandy will be able to get married and no longer fear the marriage penalty. And there you go. That's fifth stimulus. But if you're in the live chat and you're seeing these people post the big monies they've gotten for this channel, or you're hearing it, you're like $5,000, $6,000, $10,000, $12,000, $22,000. What's going on? How come I'm not getting the money? Consider becoming a member. Memberships links are in the top of the channel, the pinned comment. It also says join underneath the video. Members are delivered daily from me a breakdown of all the big monies under third stimulus for you. And members get an emoji of a purple hawk next to their name. You'll see it in the live chat. Here's what you need to know is when third stimulus passed, I said, yeah, you'll get a $1,400 stimulus check, but rather won't you want $14,000? Well, viewers have learned from me that there's a lot of money in third stimulus for you to get. It's still there. And ultimately, we don't care what money is called so long as there's a lot of it. And if you can get this money easy, quickly now, why would you not get it? Why would you sit back and track a check, hold up a calendar, chase dates, or be a calendar catcher? Don't do that. Don't do that. Get the big money right now. Which brings us to the finale of your fourth stimulus check of 2021 starting right now. It's a perfect segue for my last comments because guess what? It's important to note that you cannot call the vote on something that ultimately does not pass because there is no re-vote. There's no redo. You don't get a second chance. You get one chance and you've used up your recon and you got Zippo. Here's what you need to know, is that Jalapal slipped up by revealing the severity, the importance of how the vote is called by a press statement a week ago today. In that press statement, she slipped up because she gave us a timeline we never knew. She admits in her words that her Democratic caucus met and polled how to vote on the recon before the recon was split from the bipartisan. She and her group met to discuss how the recon and the bipartisan should be voted upon before they were ever even created as separate identities. Meaning that they have thought about how serious this issue is for a while. We did a poll of our members and the overwhelming majority of our caucus said they're not going to vote for the bipartisan without voting for the recon first. And that was a poll done before the bipartisan was split from the recon. Wow. So that shows how significant they think the issue is. Why would we discount? Why would we ignore that importance if they think it is that critically important? Here's what you need to know. You can't. You absolutely cannot. You cannot hold a calendar and say, what happened to that date? What happened to that vote? What happened to that date? They're dragging all this sort of negative comments. Can't do that. Here's what you need to know. Had they called the vote before 2 Wednesdays ago when the recon and the roads and bridges were together, had they called the vote before they were split, you would today have 0. And no option to do anything to fix it. Because when you call the vote the wrong way, when the recon was too big, it would have not have passed and you would have gotten 0. There's no way to go back and fix it after the fact. No way to just get a new recon. You would have used up your recon and you would have nothing. Can't do that. Can't do that. Number 2. Now that the recon is split from the bipartisan, you may say, okay, why not call the vote right now? Because it has to be called the right way. The recon has to be voted before the bipartisan or concurrently with the bipartisan. And in fact, that serious issue is exactly what Jalapal just said. And Nancy Pelosi issued a statement right after the split of the recon from the bipartisan saying she's not going to move on this one. Thank goodness she's really protecting the fort on this one. There ain't going to be no bipartisan vote unless we have a recon bill vote. And as I said, there won't be a bipartisan bill vote until we have a recon bill vote. Plain and simple. If I use the word ain't, there ain't going to be a bipartisan bill vote unless we have a recon passed by the United States Senate. Wow, that is huge. So it's very critical that they call the vote right. So next, what are they doing right now? Who are they doing and where are they doing it? This is what you need to know. The Congress is a big building. It has offices in it. It has big floors where people vote, and then they have subcommittee meetings. Well, guess what? Subcommittee rooms. Well, guess what they're doing this week? Every single day this week, the House Ways and Means Committee, the committee that's solely exclusively responsible for writing stimulus checks and writing up the recon, is meeting daily. They issued that statement before the 4-day weekend. Also, the House Budget Committee issued a statement. They are meeting in subcommittee daily. This is huge and important to know because they're not just in the building. They're not just in their office. They're actually meeting to get this finished. Great, great news. Next, it also shows something that's very important, which I don't think I've explained. I said it enough. I said it about a week ago, but I want to explain again. This recon will go a different path than prior recons. It will start in the Senate, then go to the House. Because it's starting in the Senate, there is no vote-a-rama to start with, because vote-a-rama is when there's amendments to make. They're starting with the beginning, so there's nothing to amend yet. They're starting with the beginning. So it'll start with the Senate. How will the Senate have something? The House subcommittees apparently are taking the lead on the drafting and the finality and the voting, and the Senate subcommittees are working in conjunction, so it come out of the Senate subcommittees. What you also need to know is that when these subcommittees are doing things, they don't have a lot of transparency. They are not required by the Constitution to give you transparency. And a lot of people expect transparency and they don't see it, and so they assume something's not happening. They are not going to tell you every single word that they've written. They're not going to show you drafts. They're not going to show you the thing always. They're not going to tell you that they voted always. Some subcommittees are better at showing things than others. Some just don't tell you anything. And so I don't want you to assume that nothing is happening. Next, the session. In session. That's two words, in session. What does it refer to? It refers to the floor of the House and the floor of the Senate. Two rooms, two big rooms. When those rooms are open, they are all House members, all Senate members goting. That's in session. When the two rooms are closed and locked, that does not, I gotta say it 3 times, that does not mean they are off in another continent of the planet Earth. And that was certainly a news story that was run by fake media all throughout July of 2020. They are not in another continent. They are just down the hall. They're in their offices, and in this case, they've actually told us that they're in the subcommittee meetings. So how does the vote actually start? The Speaker of the House, the leader of the Senate, and the president all have constitutional authority to put them back into session and vote at any time. And understand, when they do that, the senators and the House members are not in another time zone. They're not in another planetary galaxy. They're down the hall. So it's not like some enormous leap of faith to get this done. And there you go. It's important to know as we look forward to this week that you have to push. Purple Power, you have to push. WR, 2 Fridays ago on noontime, this show, jumped on the live chat and said he called up his senator. He took my advice. What did he do? He called up his senator and said, I want to express to you professionally why I think we need multiple stimulus checks. I want to tell you my situation. And that's what he did. He spoke to the Secretary of the Senator. Who is that senator? Senator Coons, Democrat, Delaware, Joe Biden's closest confidant. The Secretary said the Senator Coons is already writing the multiple stimulus check provision for the Senate. Wonderful. But here's what you need to know. You need to do the same thing. You cannot be a donut guy. Do not be a donut guy. When am I getting it? Where? When is this? When? Don't be a donut guy. It's not going to get you anything. It's never going to get you anything being a donut guy, because you cannot presume anything with any of these people. Down to the last minute, you have to push. And so by picking up the phone and calling them, express to them professionally. Think in your mind before you call them what you want to say. my business was this what happened, my community, my town, this is what happened. Do not call them up and say, where is my check? Don't ask them, when am I getting a check? Am I getting a check? That's not the purpose of the call. The purpose of the call is for you to express why you need a check. And go on social media, tag your elected officials, hashtag MSC, hashtag Purple Power. Also, the Democrat caucus, also Jalapal and the head of the caucuses and their chair and their sub-chair as well. Keep on pushing, because ultimately, together as a family, we're going to get to the finish line. And also get that big money for rent, utilities, internet, and SNAP. This is just like fall 2020. There's a lot of money available out there for you in third stimulus, so go get it. And I look forward to seeing you next on Afternoons LATE at 3 p.m., followed by Evenings LATE at 5 p.m., Overnight's Crypto at 5:30, Evenings Crypto at 7, and then Sirloin's new show. And thank you for watching it last night. Wow, wonderful, wonderful comments. His new time slot is 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And with that, subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record in 1 year. I want you part of this family. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like this video, 3,000 likes. It really helps in the algorithm rankings. It also delivers some cornflakes. And consider becoming a member. The link's at the top of the chat and pinned comment. As a member, I deliver to you daily all the big money you can get, and I want you to get those tens of thousands of dollars. Be the next Nisi and get $22,000 potentially as well. Stay informed, stay focused, and stay with LA for more.